Are you having trouble and seemingly not knowing the best time to fight or smoke in the game? So Dota is a pretty complex game with so many combinations of ultimates and difficult heroes to master. What if I told you all of this could be simplified and make you see the game in a new light? And it doesn't matter what role you play, as this is considered a general knowledge for many high-ranking players out there. So if there's something you haven't heard of before, it's your lucky day. Let's get down to business, and here are the top 5 tips on how to play the mid to late game in Dota 2. Timing. Dota is all about timing and numbers. You may be thinking that you might not be good at math, so this won't work out for you. Wrong. Your biggest enemy is actually not calculating the trajectory for the rocket to land on the moon for NASA, but it's actually something more simpler than that, and that is awareness. What does it mean by awareness? Awareness is not only about the moment the enemy mid goes missing and you keep pressing the missing chat wheel button. If you haven't noticed, the secret and the answer to playing insane high level Dota is using all the free information in plain sight. I could mention a lot about the mindset to have in Dota, but that is not today's topic. But before we start, just know that by watching this video, you already took the one step forward to having an open mindset to the game. So the first one is your early game timing. Let's say you just got your level 6 on your lane, and what do you do now? Generally, you want to be efficient with your ultimate to actually have impact in a game instead of farming the whole game and doing nothing. So we're gonna talk about various carry, since some of them have slightly different tempo in the game. This is actually one of the games that I played in. This rank 3 Spectre was constantly commanding his team to make movement in the map, mainly because he wants to use his ultimate efficiently. Seeing him constantly making the calls in the game actually expanded my mindset to how Dota should be played with certain heroes. In this game, for example, Spectre has around a minute on Horn cooldown, which actually means that I have to constantly move around the map to be able to make openings that are usually not available from other carries at this stage. And next, we're gonna look at Juggernaut. One tip for Juggernaut is that once they reach level 6, they tend to farm much nearer to where the team fight are at, all just so they can use up their huge cooldown ultimate and go back to farming again. Up next, we're gonna look at ultimate timing. Let's say that you have a Beastmaster offlane and a Magnus mid. For the offlaner, you might want to always check his cooldown and see if his raw is up. And for the Magnus, you might want to check if his RP is up. And if any of these two skills are up, you can actually consider to smoke with them to take fights or objectives with it. While some of this sounds similar to the previous one, for example, heroes like Terrorblade's Metamorphosis, which is considered as his ultimate, has a minimum 2 minutes cooldown. And during this period means that you are one of the strongest in the game at the moment. And with that skill available, the right choices are always to go for objectives or team fight. Not doing any of these two are basically a sin, and is actually one of the main reasons of why you feel you do not have control in the game as a carry. It is not because you don't know how to play the hero, but in the most common cases, a lot of people from lower ranks to even immortals, they still do not have a strong timing, as they tend to forget they have the responsibility to be aggressive when certain skills are on cooldown. And this always happens mainly because they are too tunnel vision into farming creeps that they do not see what their team needs in the moment of the game. So playing with your team when their skills are on cooldown is actually a simplified way of farming efficiently. And for the next one, we have BKB timing. During the late game, having a skills off cooldown doesn't cut it anymore, as in most cases, the enemy heroes are strong enough to the point that you cannot ignore them and you require a BKB. A lot of moments, in order to perform with dealing damage with your character, you need a combination of having your ultimate ready and a BKB. So here's a common callout I've always encountered when playing with high MMR players. They usually say this one magic word: I am strong, let's fight. If you are a carry player, then know that this is your responsibility in the late game where the stakes are higher, usually involving Roshan. Which then brings us to our next tip, Roshan timing. For those who don't know, the earliest Roshan timing that is most common to kill is at the 18 to 22 minute mark. If you're wondering how do I know these numbers, these are the magic numbers that simplify and make everything 10 times easier in Dota. If you don't believe me, then you can check out the average Husker and Ursa games from even way before the current meta. So once you kill Roshan, how do you use the Aegis? A lot of players are hiding these secrets, but I'm going to reveal it to you right now. Just follow these two rules to forever change your perspective in your games. There are so many moments where I didn't believe this rule was real and was proven time and time again on how important this is. The number one rule after you get the Aegis is always use the first Aegis for farming or take objectives outside their base. For example, tier 1 and tier 2 towers. But never ever go for the high ground with the first Aegis. This is the absolute troll, and 90% of Dota games are actually thrown or delayed because the team does not know how to use the first Aegis. To sum it up, the first Aegis is used to get towers and and objectives like tormentors. And once you've gotten them, just farm. Control the triangle, do not be in a rush to go high ground and end the game unless you want the classic scenario of everyone dying and not knowing what happened to them, and the game will be delayed even further. And so here comes the second rule. Once you use the first Aegis to take objective and map control, and also network fleet, use the second Aegis for high ground. There are only 2 rules on how to use the Aegis, and if you do not believe me, watch any pro games or high rank games and you will see that they use similar rules to play Dota, which actually simplifies everything. I hope you learned something through this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Bye.